we've got to talk about the almost, not the penultimate episode, but the almost episode 6,
Yes.
where it was a lot of talking and not a lot of action,
Mm-mm.
but
It moved the story forward, so I was grateful for that. But I don't know. I hate to be one of those people that's just like, I need stuff blowing up. I need blood and guts. Like sometimes I enjoy a good dialogue movie.
I mean, R.I.P. Stephen Darkland. Somebody did blow up, and the one guy who slit his throat.
Yeah. So was that like he felt like he had dishonored the role or position, or was it like
I think it was
this
fast
will?
death.
Okay, that's what I was like. Is it? He's just like I need to go.
Yeah, I think it was trying to show like it's so Dragonfire is so bad that I would rather slit my throat and just get it over with
Yeah,
than roast. So yeah. So I mean, technically somebody, how
that's
much
true. A
how
couple people's
how much more fire did you need?
there were yeah. Honestly, we got the fire and blood right there. It was a good episode. Like again, I'm okay with the dialogue if the story is moving forward. An example, I don't know if you watched The Boys,
Hmm.
but this last season, a lot of people didn't like for a number of reasons. But one of the reasons I personally felt like is that there were multiple episodes where you would get to the end of the episode and just kind of take a step back and be like, the main story has not progressed. Like there
Oh,
was a lot of talking
right,
and nothing really happened.
right.
There's a lot of dialogue, but it's moving the story forward. You are making progress. I'm okay with it. So I saw the rating for it was like a 6.4. I know people are unhappy about it. I was like, that wasn't a six. Like th-
Yeah,
it wasn't
that's
a
not
six
a
and a half.
six.
Come
That
on.
really, yeah, it really, I mean, think about what we had. We figure out that, like, okay, so you got the Lannisters are on the move. You find out that Aemon is kind of already power has gone to his head. He does not
Yes.
like being summoned.
Kicked
Um,
his mom off the council.
he kicks his mom off the council, says thanks, but no thanks. Your time here is done. You have, I mean, he's super drunk on power.
You have Aegon awake now, and you know that he remembers, and him and Clubfoot are plotting. Well, Aegon is just laying there, but the other guy is plotting.
Right. Laris
Laris
is saying, hey, you can use this to your advantage. If you appear weak, people might loosen up
under
around you, yeah, and reveal things and not see you as a threat, and
you know,
which can be your ultimate power. You have, yeah, obviously things went not well in the dragon pit, but
you've got
for
that. You got Rhaenyra using Uber Eats to start a riot. Was a tweet
right,
that I
right,
saw.
you've got her and Mysaria bonding.
Didn't see that one coming. I genuinely like in the moment they hugged, and I was like, that was a really deep story. And then
She looked
the
at her
embrace lasted like
a beat too
three
long.
seconds too long, and I was like,
Hmm.
hmm. And then I was like, okay, like, but I did not see that coming.
Right. And then, of course, the one night bursts in and ruins the moment.
Yeah,
We were like, come on, give us something here. Like in Game of Thrones, somebody was naked every
yeah,
3.5 seconds.
right. I did forget that the Lannisters, whatever that Lannisters guy name was, a twin
Oh,
because I
yes.
saw him on his horse out there, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then
2 seconds
immediate,
later.
the very next scene, he was sitting there. I was like, whoa, all right. And then I was like, oh. And then of
Oh,
course
wait
he
a
said
minute.
my brother, and I was like, oh yeah, they're twins.
Oh, yes. Oh,
I think
oh.
Alicent is sitting there thinking like I should send a raven to Dragonstone, and it just says my bad. That's
Right.
all you got to say.
Whoops. Do you
Just the
guys have
shrug.
yeah, do you have any open seats for women leaders over there?
Right.
I'm like, did you need a hand? And she's
Yeah.
like, too late. I've already got
Yeah.
one. And she's kind of hot.
Yeah.
So it's,
Damon is somewhat on his redemption arc, maybe.
and you
His
find
last
that,
hallucination seemed like he was realizing that he, in fact, was the bad guy in these situations. And then he asked for help from the witch, which, you know, it's a
she
dangerous
came
game, but
through,
she did come through. She did
she,
come through.
she got rid
So
of Grover for him.
there was a lot of things that I
Right.
felt made this episode, even though it was not very action packed, even though
Well,
there was nobody naked, it was still just a good episode.
plus you've got is it's Rhaena who discovers what I believe is going
Oh,
to be Sheep
yeah.
Stealer on the island. And I think I know people are complaining that it looks like they're going to do away with the character of Nettles in the book and
I
have
saw
her
people
be,
online complaining about that.
which I find it's strange to me because I'm like, it, yeah, so give Raina a bigger part. Like I don't understand. I mean, like to me, it's like, well, okay, well, you're giving Raina a bigger part. Like that's,
Well, I
and then
didn't read
you
the book, so I didn't know who that
right.
character was, but
I mean,
yeah, I just
there's
saw people complaining about that name, and I was like, oh, I guess there's a character they cut.
right. Basically, she just kind of, I don't want to say she tames the dragon. She just basically she brings it sheep. She just keeps feeding it and it allows her to ride. So, I mean, like this way, they're not doing that. They're doing, probably going to have Raina do it, which, okay, fine, fine. It's my, I mean, there are a few things you'd have to work out because Raina's still, I can't, well, you don't want to spoil anything, but, like because I mean again there really are only a handful of people that make it to the end of this, um so you're like yeah, so can't really say, but you have Adam and Alan of Hull, but you have SeaSmoke deciding that she is no longer waiting around to have Adam look at her, and
Yeah,
she tracked him down,
that was funny. That was funny.
the
It
memes.
was interesting to see not Adam, who's the other one?
Alan shave his head,
Yes, that was
white
a
hair.
very interesting scene. Like he is active, so he knows, and he is
They both know.
actively,
Mm-hmm.
well, yeah, they both know. Obviously, the conversation
Yeah, right.
made that clear, but it was just something about that scene, like visually, without him having to say it, lets you know that he is rejecting
That
all
he
of
doesn't
that.
want people, yeah, he does not want anybody to know that Corliss, there's a certain level either of shame on his part, like there, yeah, there's either shame or he's doing it to protect because like I forgot which one of the brothers said, like, he owes us, he owes you, he
Yeah.
owes us. So you don't know if it's shame or if he's trying to in some way still protect him. But yeah,
Which is
that
in direct contrast to the guy at the bar over in King's Landing telling
he's telling
everybody,
him,
like
telling
there's two
it
opposite sides.
right, but shut his mouth real quick when the king walked in, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No,
But yeah,
that was good.
that scene with him shaving, like, because I sat there too, and I was like, oh, he's shaving his head, and then it's like, then it was like a certain way that the light hit, and you could tell that the hair was white, and you were like,
Yeah.
oh, that's
Yeah.
insane, like that's crazy.
And then
But
the son, what was Rhaenyra's son's name? The one that, they're teaming up.
Jaceres,
Yeah.
Jaceres, the old
You
Jace,
can sense his level of frustration again. And I was making jokes to Sarah about it,
she
but
took
like
off again.
he took off again.
Didn't
They're
tell him.
making plans without him. And I know the whole Uber Eats thing, like that didn't
Right,
need to be something that was told to the whole council. But when he's up there talking to essentially a nobody, like I realize that White Worm is valuable, I guess in more ways than one, but she's valuable because she has sources and King's
right.
Landing is given information. But for all intents and purposes, like who are you? And then when you see your mom and her talking, and she's like, "Oh, is our plan ready?" Blah blah blah. And he's like, "What plan?" And she kind of just dismisses him. Like I was like, "All right, no, like I'm taking my sword out and just beheading that other chick. Like, who are you?" And Sarah was like, "Will," and I was like, "No, I'm not serious, but I'm also like, you've left twice.
Right.
People are dying. I'm literally like trying to help you. I'm doing my best."
And
and now
Mysaria knew
you're
about that the
making
first time
plans
she
without.
left.
Yeah,
When she left to go confront Alicent, she knew about that plan too.
yeah.
Because she got her through
She's the one
her
that told her
contact.
how to get in and out. So like if I'm Harris, I'm just like, oh, okay, like cool.
I'm
It's
gonna go
like
find Damon and hang out with him.
right, exactly. And I'm like, Sarah's like, well, she's the queen, she can do what she wants. And I'm like, okay, you're not wrong. But when you are at war, and I am like one of the few allies you have left,
Right.
you continually disappearing and not talking to me about anything. Like you are driving him away. And who
Right.
knows if that's the way it's going. But in my mind, I'm like keeping a tally for all the things that she's done to her entire council. Because I was one of the ones, like I saw in the last episode or 2 episodes ago, I can understand why her council might be wavering because
Wow.
the Greens were
I
moving. The Greens were moving pieces on the chessboard, and you guys are just sitting there like, "Where's the queen?" Couldn't tell you. What about the king consort? Well, he left, and he's supposed to be there, but I
right.
don't know.
Right. I love when she smacked the guy though.
Oh, that was good. That was good.
And she
And it was
said,
funny
yeah.
because the son mentioned it, and he's like, I don't know. I felt like the way he said it was like, maybe you shouldn't have done that. I'm like, no, she deserved to slap him twice.
Right. And she's like, I blame myself for not making you more afraid of me.
Yeah, I was like, oof, good for you. Good for you.
So she's had it with the people
Yeah,
around her.
yeah.
But
It
yeah, no,
was fun. Yeah.
when she took off at the end and he walked out, I thought he's gonna be
He's
in.
had it. He
He's
has had it. And doesn't like, and you know where she's going, obviously, after after SeaSmoke
right.
and the mysterious writer. But yeah, he's just gotta be sitting there like, come on now. I'm gonna usurp your second throne. I'm about to usurp this throne from you.
Right. You're about to right. You're about to have a whole bunch of people like all the
Do you
boys are gonna
think she wonders if it was her husband, whatever his name was?
I don't know if she knows that he's still alive.
Oh, really?
I mean, like,
I guess that was something they never answered. I assumed she did.
I mean, I know that Damon knows that he's alive, but
Yes, because Damon's the one that put the plan into action.
right. And so I don't know if like because I would think that if she thought that he was still alive, that she would have assumed that the dragon would have gone off to find, like I don't know, like maybe like well, clearly that he's not around, he can't be, like the dragon would have chased him, would have gone off, for it. Like our dragons don't leave us, kind of like I don't know, like I don't know if she knows. I always knew that he knew. I mean, because he's the one that set him up on that,
Yeah.
the whole thing. But I don't know if he kept that from her. Because I mean, it wouldn't surprise me any. I mean, he hasn't
Yeah,
told her a
that's
whole
true.
bunch.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that like you look at his track record, like it's not shocking. I just that's interesting, and I see where you're coming from. That makes sense. I had always assumed she knew, but now I'm
Right.
like replaying the whole scenario, and the way I saw it, she like said what she wanted out loud, and Damon's like, "Oh, I can make that happen." And, puts the cloak on and goes to the
Right.
dock and tells the guy. And I assumed he told her, but with the whole blood and cheese thing, it's clear that she can vocalize something that she wants, and he'll go off and do it and not even say anything.
Right. And
So
and
I never thought
right.
about that.
And like I think it was like because I think it was Mysaria that said to her, like, because when she was circling around when they were having a conversation and she was like, I guess um I guess she must have said like, do they always do that or whatever? And then Miss Area, I think she says he's probably like it's probably lonely. And
Yeah.
she had this look of like really and I took the look of like she felt guilty because she thinks he's dead. Now like that, I mean, again, maybe she just got sketchy because she's like, but like I just don't know why she would, like, again, I would think that her being a dragon rider would assume that the dragon would try to like would try to find, like why, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how they behave. they're dragons. But yeah, I don't know one way or the other. Like, I don't, in the book, obviously he is killed.
Yeah, and I think they did the way that they framed it up, because it's obvious that they have wanted the blacks to be the ones that we root for.
Sure.
And I think that if he had actually died
Killed him,
and
right.
Rhaenyra immediately got married, that would have been a stain on, not on their legacy, but like that would have been a strike against her.
Sure.
That gave you a reason to root against her. So they let him live, but I think it does open up a lot of, it's kind of a can of worms now that they've left him alive.
Right. Because, like,
So it's
does
like
he,
you could have just killed him and said that she had nothing to do with it. It was Damon, because we
because I mean,
already
he
were
hears,
supposed
so
to trust
someone like
him.
he hears about his mom dying and
Right.
nothing, and, or, and he finds out, like, that his dad's going to, I mean, this is a, I,
And
I,
don't dragons and riders have like a really strong bond? Like if he was still alive, the dragon would just
that's what I'm saying. It's
know.
like, yeah, and I would figure, oh, well, no, I mean, I guess they can have, two writers. I guess they could just stop with one, and that means somebody who, like, really has read all that stuff could probably say. But yeah, it's just, I just find it like, okay, so you've left him alive in order for them to have the, the moral high ground here.
Yeah.
Okay. But again, now you, like, they're going to, I have my predictions on what these last couple of episodes might be. There's going to be something called Battle of the Gullet coming up.
Heard
Which
about
again,
that.
yeah, I don't, again, it's like, I don't know how much to be like, okay, spoiler warning. But I mean,
Right.
like it, it's out there already. It's a book, so it's like, but I, like, they're gonna change some things, but it is going to affect Corlys and Spice Town and his fleet. And again, it'd be like, okay, well, if he's out there and he hears about, like, he'd just be like, that's dad's problem, like,
Yeah.
I find it strange, but I mean, I think that's one of those things that they don't want us to think too hard on. Now they're just like, look, SeaSmoke has found a new buddy, and
Exactly. That
he's
definitely one of those situations, but I think, yeah, like in order to give the Targaryens the moral high ground when it comes to the blacks and the greens, they allowed him to live. And but in the long run, it's like, you probably should have just killed him. We would
right.
have forgiven him for
It'd be
it.
like Gentry. He'll be on, like, the longest boat ride of his life, right?
Right.
Where you're like, I forgot about this guy, and then all of a sudden, season 5, you're like, oh, back,
You
like,
back. What was that? You cut your dreads off. We didn't even recognize you.
right,
Yeah.
like, right. So yeah, he's got a new writer, so I mean, they've got to be moving on from him in some sort of way, because they've given the dragon now to somebody else, which he's, yeah, but the battle, I do, the it's just going to progressively get worse,
Yeah.
because we are going to, spoiler warning, we are about to lose two more dragons if they do it right. One, definitely. The other one will depend on how big, like, how much they age, I guess, this dragon by then. But even then, that's gonna be sad, because if they don't buy a whole bunch, that means you're killing off a baby dragon, and that just is even worse. So let's, but I mean,
All
like,
right.
this is not, this is, again, I mean, this is like, I'm not spoiled, because, like, I'm not gonna tell you who it is, but there are, I mean, I'm sure people can deduce, but the fact is, I mean, it's called Dances. I mean, I hate to break it to anybody that has nobody comes, like, there is a reason dragons, when Game of Thrones comes around, they talk about how there have not been dragons seen for hundreds of years. Like, if you think that, like, there might be a handful of dragons that, now you don't want to say handful, there might be like 2 dragons that come out of this that make it to the end, but even then, that's it. Like, there is a reason this all comes to an end. Like, the it just gets really ugly. There's a whole bunch of dragons out there, and they all have time to die, and
Yeah.
they are all going to die in various horrible ways. Like that's I again, I know it's not spoiling it for. I mean, maybe it is, but I don't know who's going to watch this show, who watched Game of Thrones, that is thinking, oh boy, I really hope the dragons make
Right.
it.
It would be like watching, well, I guess the way they were the released order of Star Wars, and then being like
Man, I hope
watching
Anakin
prequel,
really.
yeah, well, watching the prequel trilogy and being like, man, there are Jedi everywhere. Like, I wonder what happened between now and A New Hope. Like, because there's quite literally an army of them,
Right.
and then A
Well, I
New
really,
Hope they hadn't
right.
been seen in years. Like it's not a spoiler alert. It's like clearly there is something that happens in this 20-year period.
Right. Like, oh, I really like this Anakin kid. I hope he doesn't go dark.
Yeah.
Like, well, have you
Looks
heard of
like
drag?
he's suffering from some anger issues, but I'm
Right.
sure
Right.
that
Like,
it's just puberty. He'll get over it.
right. You're just like, yeah. I mean, it's one of those things. Like, but I'm not going to spoil the Battle of Gullet, but it is a huge. Once again, it is a huge moment. That it's almost like I think even after this, there's like a really like famous phrase or saying that Corlys says after this battle, and he's like, if I ever have another or something, like, I hope to never have another victory like this one. Because I mean, it's one of those things where, like, as we watch on the show, we often have the conversation of like, well, who won that? And it's like,
Yeah.
well, they, like, with Rhaenys, it was like the who won, I mean, like, there was, because like you could say, okay, well, yeah, the Team Green came out of it with having secured that castle, but Kristen Cole comes back and like, we've lost hundreds of
You lost
men,
hundreds of
like,
men. You lost the king. You lost a
right,
dragon.
right,
You lost it, like, yeah.
right.
And
It's one of those things where you're like, okay, clearly somebody died on that side and they did lose a dragon, but if we came, like, you can't in good faith come out of it and be like, yippee, like, I mean, like, so it's like, it's one of those things where a lot of the battles, and when people take over King's Landing and they lose King's Landing and then somebody else, like, a lot of these battles that'll happen, it's going to be like, ooh, like, they might have stopped X, Y, and Z from happening, but holy crap, they lost so much on this. Which I think actually makes it great,
yeah,
because you're never going to be like, it's just one side. Here's a clear victory. Here's a clear defeat. It's going to be like, you just kind of feel sick, because it's just everything is going. He had it was 80 years of peace that is going so horrifically bad so quickly, with people who know that at any point it should have been stopped.
yeah.
Like, it's like watching anybody who's read history and has read anything about World War I. You see the dominoes start to fall, and you just keep thinking, at any point you could have stopped this and pulled this back and not let it become the overwhelming world war that wipes out populations of people. And so it's like, again, like, you have Alicent, who knows she's in the wrong at this point. She knows she made
In
the wrong
more ways
decision.
than one, like the prophecy, and now your first son who just wasn't prepared for it and shouldn't have been there, and now your second son
Who's a
who
psycho.
is a psycho. Yeah.
Right.
It's
And right. And you realized, oh, this is about, they really just don't want any women in any kind of position. Like, when he tells her, like, go and do something domestic,
domestic. Oh man.
I was like, no, don't
That
do it.
it was interesting. And then of course he said that. and then suddenly you see her by Aegon's side. It's like, oh, if only you had done that, like, I don't know, when his kid died or when he was calling out to when he first got back. But it was interesting that he woke up and immediately understood that he kind of had to lie and say, I don't remember anything. And then Aemond didn't believe him. And
Laid on him.
yeah, like that was an interesting scene. Because he woke up and even though he was in a ton of pain, he had the situational awareness because I joked like I said, if I was him and I woke up, I'd be like, you're dead. Like, but him waking up half barbecued, seeing Aemond immediately was like, all right, cool, survival mode.
Right.
I'm concussed. I have no idea what happened.
Whoop, couldn't remember. Don't remember
You
anything.
know, I was drunk flying that dragon, right?
Right, like, oops, I really did hit my head really hard on the ground.
Yeah.
Dang, I can't remember anything. Yeah, but
So
that's
that, that was rough to look at. I thought after, you know, Viserys was gone, I was done looking at zombies, but here we are
here
looking at
we are.
a half barbecued king.
And there is a reason that they're doing so much focus on the small folk.
Yes.
It is going to be they this if they continue with the story, I don't know at what point they plan on ending the Dance of the Dragons. I don't know if they'll end it with um the ultimate um person being crowned, and then how there's a little bit of like I mean yeah, I mean where it'll be like, I don't know at what point they're going to stop it.
Okay.
There's a few parts where they could, but if they, I'm assuming they're going to, with the way they do keep on focusing on the small folk, is more than just with the Ulf the White and Hugh the Hammer, who I mean are going, they become dragon riders at a certain point. Again, Hugh the Hammer. Have you watched any of the new rock stars?
Not today, or the
No, but
not
I
the
mean,
most.
like, have you watched where he does it?
Oh,
He spins the
Hugh. Yeah.
Hugh Hammer. Yeah. Yeah, like Hugh, again, spoiler, gets Vermithor, which is one, he's this,
Massive.
yeah, he's the one underneath Vagar. And then you get Ulf the White, who gets Silverwing, I think is the name of it. And then of course you get Sheep Stealer, who, yeah, it looks like it's going to be Rhaena. So you're gonna have dragon riders. But yeah, there is but it's more than just, okay, they're showing you, because the small folk really do factor into the story. The more the main characters start to kind of whittle down towards like just a handful, the gin population of King's Landing really do kind of have a story of their own. Like, you're going to see a lot. You remember how in Game of Thrones they had the Sparrow, and it was, what was he, the I forgot what it was, the Faith of the Seven, what was it, I forget what was it, the guy who was in the set that Cersei blew up because she didn't like
Oh,
how,
yeah.
I forgot what the name of the religion was. But you kind of see the same things play out in this storyline, as you are going to have, you're going to have the population of King's Landing kind of searching for, it's just going to be turmoil because of everything that's going on. And you do all, you always in those moments are going to have somebody who's going to be the prophet, that can see all. And yeah, it's just, and it just, everything just constantly, I just think it's going to be a really good show because they just at least keep those, they have just kept a lot of the the core elements. You know where exactly where they're at in the story if you were to pick up the book, but like they just keep that core story, but it just gets so wild and wicked. That's the reason it's like they are showing you that there's these people in King's Landing are so easily swayed
Yeah.
due to whoever is fulfilling their needs, rightfully so. You know what I mean? They because
When you
Aemon
saw that
is
wagon full of sheep being brought to the kingdom, which was just
to feed
that was a
dragons.
swing and a miss on their part. Yeah, but it was like you should have had like a secret tunnel or something.
Right?
You wrote that right through the middle. Like honestly, I'm surprised it made it. Like I realize that's for the dragons. So like if you
Right.
take it, they're gonna come after you. But I feel like mob mentality, y'all could kill the guy on the wagon, take the sheep, go your separate ways, and when they come to town, be like, I don't know.
Which is exactly why it turned into like that when people were fighting over heads of lettuce, like
Yeah,
I mean it people were like that's it. We now we at least have somebody that's feeding us
yeah.
and it isn't you guys and
Yeah, and
it's
then they came after the church, and I realized why Alicent was telling the guards to sheathe their swords, and because it's not a good look, obviously, you
right.
killing the townsfolk. But I was also like, look, once I get surrounded, all bets are off. If I've got a sword, it's coming out. And then the
Right.
one guy gets taken down, and they're stomping on him, and I was like, oh no, like my sword would be out. Like I do not care. I'm swinging that thing in a circle.
Right.
Put your swords away. I don't think so.
I will after I'm done here.
Yeah.
Like, because, yeah, I mean, yeah, but yeah, I just think they're doing a good job of showing that they're kind of giving you those little hints of it's ultimately the people in the city and the subject, like it's going to be they're constantly sacrificing for a family dispute. It's like if you were to be
Okay.
fighting with, your brother or your sister and like you destroy your entire city block
Yeah.
because of it. And so it's like they're they're showing you, in almost every episode that it's just randos that are the ones that are, I mean, like you do, yes, we lost Rainey's and you're
Mm.
going to lose more. And but it's almost like for every one of them that you lose, you're losing hundreds of people that are fighting or not even fighting for their side. It's like I mean, let's not kid, the whole reason Aemon locked those gates was so he has a human shield.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's keeping them behind the gate. So it's when she swoops down with her dragon, starts lighting everybody on fire, it's you burned
Now
up.
you yeah, exactly. Like, and then they can go and not only can the Greens use it, but it's also like it keeps them safer because
Right.
it's
Right.
all of them first.
Exactly right. Which again is going it I just think it's going to be really neat, I think, for people to watch to see the how just the how it devolves over these years and these months of all this fighting and how the toll it takes on just the regular people who are trying to and how they will search for a savior in any
Some
moment.
like a
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly right. Which, I'm kind of interested in that show that's going to be on.
I saw the trailer before the episode and I almost texted you. I was like, are we watching this? Are we doing
Oh, we're
this?
watching this. We are so watching that. I need to find out. Like,
I
I've
knew
got
they
to.
had talked about it. I didn't realize like it was essentially done. Like comes out in November. The trailer was out. I was like, I missed. I thought it was like some point next year, not November.
Yeah, yeah. I was shocked about that. It was yeah, that it was this year. Um, because I don't think we didn't we talked about like whether Dune 3 or Messiah was coming out next or if he was going to be doing a
A
he's
prequel.
well the Villanueva he's supposed to be the rumors are because they're Dune Messiah is coming about. It's like whether or not that's going to be the next one he releases or he's supposed to be doing actually like another movie based or like that centers around something else, and then he'll do Dune Messiah. But that's
Really?
yeah, that he's gonna take a like
I'm not
there's
okay
supposed
with that.
yeah, that there's supposed to be another, I forgot what it's about, but that Dennis Villeneuve, yeah. Um yeah, I
Hmm.
don't, but that's a side point. But yes, I was like, yeah, I really want to watch it. I want to see what year it's based off of.
From what I remember reading, it was like 1,000 years before.
Really?
Let me see. Dune prophecy. Mhm. Bene Gesserit, yeah, but like when? I remember reading something that said 10,000 years before Paul
Oh,
Atreides joins the Fremen.
oh, whoa.
10,000 years. So there will not be a
10,000.
single person that we've been introduced to that will be
Nice.
mentioned on this show.
Okay. Okay, and so this says that there was an untitled film event that he's to release on December 18th, 2026. I don't know how they can do that so far ahead. And it says some are wondering if it's Dune Messiah, but then there's also speculation that it could potentially adapt Annie Jacobson's Nuclear War.
Hmm.
So it could
Okay,
be
so
about
this one is about the two sisters that created the
the
Bene Gesserit.
Beneges. Ooh,
Yeah.
it's so
So it's
yeah, I'm
going
so
like all the way to the beginning.
I'm I'm down watch. I'm totally going to consume it. I it's a must. There's no doubt about that. But all right, well, I think we've thoroughly discussed
Yes,
House of Dragon. Kind of exciting. There is no acolyte this week.
there is not. I am
Oh,
curious to see what shows and or movies for Star Wars are announced at Comic-Con.
oh
I know that
yes.
they had a show called Skeleton Crew that was supposed to be coming out. I thought this year, maybe obviously won't be this year, but it was supposed to be like a Lost in Space type of show. Like it was a group
Yes.
of people, I think young adults. I think they're, I don't want to say kids, but it could be kids because they're trying to gain a younger audience because obviously
Right.
they're sick of our age group. But it's like a younger group of kids with a
Hmm.
mentor are on a ship. It gets lost in hyperspace, blah, 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 blah. And it's them, their adventures, I guess, trying to get back to wherever. I don't know the time period.
Is
I
this
don't
the one that
know.
what they were like talking about, like Robinson Crusoe type
I could see that.
thing?
I heard it was like again, like Lost in Space, but I could see it be Robinson Crusoe. Let me
Yeah,
see.
ish type
Skeleton
stuff.
Crew. Oh, it still says 2024. So
Man,
I assume we'll probably get a trailer at Comic Con and it's gonna come out in November, October, November.
well, I think we should definitely discuss on the next one. I think we should talk about what our reactions to Deadpool, because we will
Yes.
have both seen it by then. And anything we found fascinating from Comic-Con.
Yes. Four
But
kids make a mysterious discovery on their home planet that leads them to get lost in a strange and dangerous galaxy.
yeah, well, there you go.
And Jude Law is in
Of
it.
course. All right, but that's enough for this one, and we will talk to y'all later and see, well, hopefully Will have his popcorn bucket by then. So
It's
until
the
then,
goal. And that is the mission.
bye.